Hey everyone, welcome back to Bmore Geek Girls. I'm Baltimore Lauren,
It's Radio Josie.
and this is episode 1 of our brand new Baltimore-based nerd podcast, Bmore Geek Girls. We're from Baltimore, we're geeks, and we're also drinking.
That is what we're doing. And at this particular moment in time, I am 5 hours in on a day-long extravaganza of, I don't even know where I put it. Jameson's cold brew. Because I figured what better midday drink than coffee whiskey. And at some point, maybe it's not a good idea to, I don't even know if there's caffeine in here or not, but I'm still awake. Whatever.
So I'm drinking Game of Thrones, Six Kingdoms, single malt scotch.
Mmm.
Yeah, you saw the PR kit that I got with this, and truly one of
Beautiful.
it was a stunning box with like a neat little scroll that had my name in it. And, it was just packaged beautifully. And I so seldom drink it. But today I am drinking it out of a witch mug. So I keep it classy up in my house. I hope you all are keeping it classy as well as staying safe and practicing safe social isolation. I think we saw recently it came out something like 40 cans of Natty Bow between people is like 6 feet apart. Did you see that little meme that's floating around?
The Baltimore meme?
Yeah.
I saw the Dundalk meme that said that 6-pack of Marlboro Lights and
Oh, that's
6
really
cartons of Marlboro is social distancing. And I did have a meeting today with my boss that I VJ and DJ for out in clubs and bars and corporates and weddings when we're allowed to be social. We had a Taco Bell social distancing meeting where we pulled up like in the parking lot side by side because the Taco Bell by my house has 89-cent taco sundaes for crunchy or soft tacos. So we met up at the Taco Bell and we're like, in the cars and chit-chatting about life and work and things in general and eating tacos.
I do love tacos. I still get carry out from Holy for Holies in Hamden, which I will give them a really cool shout out for this really cool thing they're doing. So, like a lot of bars and restaurants are doing alcohol to go. They're doing 12-ounce margaritas for $5,
Ooh.
which is a great deal. And I think they have 62 ounces for like 12. But because I do another podcast called Barzinga, I went to, so you know Atomic Books. We've gone to Atomic Books together a few times. They have a bar in the back called 8 Bar.
Yeah.
And if you order online, you can do curbside pickup for obviously all the books that Atomic Books sells, but also for the beer and alcohol that 8 Bar sells. So I placed an order yesterday for the week. I picked up Rye Baby from Union Craft Brewery because Cry Baby is one of my favorite movies, and Rye Baby is just like everything I want in life. I picked up some canned champagne, which you saw I was indulging in last night, and my boyfriend thought, well, he really said out loud, wow, I didn't know you could sink to new lows of degenerateness.
Welcome to Baltimore, hon.
Like, fuck you over me, dude, I'm from Baltimore. And but anyway, so I picked up a bunch of stuff, and it was like $11, and I got a variety of really cool beers that if I were to go someplace else, I'd have to buy just a 6-pack of just like one thing. Like I'll buy a case of Natty Bow because I can drink that like it's water. But when it comes to like craft beer, I want to be able to make a selection. I don't like buying just one type. But they also have Charm City Mead Works that you can buy.
I love them.
Which I know you're into.
Yeah.
They actually, in my little pack of beer, they gave me a Charm City Mead Works glass for free.
Oh, with the pretty bee logo?
Yeah.
I love it. So I went out today. When we go grocery shopping, we do full masks and latex gloves and the whole deal. So next to the grocery store, there's a liquor store. and I picked up 4-pack of the Charm City Mead elderberry, the basil lemongrass because I can't get my pho right now, and the Retire by the Fire, which is the one that has like the clove and things, and it's like the more earth tone kind of flavors. And I also grabbed ciders, pineapple, and sangria. And then of course I had to get Fireball. Of course.
But I don't know if you can drink it. Can you drink rum chata?
No, that's too dairy. That's
okay.
Plus anything with coconut is a no. And with rum, there's such a large contingent of coconut in rum that I used to drink a lot of the Captain Morgan dark rum, especially back in, let's say, roughly 1999, 2000, when they had it in the plastic bottles that were really easy to, let's say, for example, smuggle into your dorm rooms and then chug straight out of the bottle, perhaps, for example. And it is one of the handful of things like, let's say, Jägermeister that are on my graduated from college lists that maybe perhaps in undergrad might have had just a little bit. And, now it's one of those things that's like, no. It's like MGD. Like I can't even say it out loud, the full name of it, without being just like taken back to a frat house basement and being able to like smell.
I had that with honestly, I had that with Jameson, just regular Jameson. This is before you and I had met. This was 2007 or 2008. It was myself, my boyfriend at the time, and my younger sister, and like a couple other friends. We went to an anime convention called Anime USA. And
yes, I have been there.
It's a nice little con.
It's a great con
in the DC area. And this is when I used to be, as some people put it, a heavy convention partier. I did not do the whole college party thing. I did it at conventions. I went hog wild at conventions. And it really didn't get me in too much trouble. I actually met a lot of people because of it, so there's that. But 2008, it was in November. It was a Friday. We got there late, and all my ex and I wanted to do was just drink, because I was in my early 20s, and my sister was with us, and so we each bought our own bottle of Jameson that was like that big. And I drank half of mine. To put it in perspective for viewers, I'm 4'11". I weigh about 140 pounds. At the time, I was like 125, whatever. So it obviously hit me very quickly.
Yeah.
My ex was 6'1", 120 pounds. Like he was as thin as my pinky. And he drank his whole bottle. Just down the hat. Yeah, I made the same face as I drank half of mine. So
as a person who has had their fair share of Jameson and Scotch-Irish blood, that's still a lot of whiskey for that size person.
So I obviously had a lot of whiskey in me. It got to a point where like I was drinking other things and just blacked out. Thankfully one of my friends carried me back to my hotel room. My sister put me on the side just in case I puked and wouldn't asphyxiate. I was fine. Actually, I don't get hangovers. So I woke up the next day like, this is great. My ex. So through the night, after I'd fallen asleep very quickly, I had a great sleep that night. My sister was like, I better go find this whole ass man that we came with. I think he might be up to something.
You lost the man. The whole man, all 6'1". You lost it.
Ashley was like, I'm going to go find this idiot. So Ashley wanders down. It's like 3:30 in the morning. Wanders down to the lobby, and she sees him. And he's wearing like cargo khaki shorts, a
Oh, I
shiny
guess it
purple.
was 2007. Okay, fine.
It was like the time.
Okay.
A shiny purple vest, no shirt underneath, and like big diva sunglasses. I think they were my sister's. And he had like a can of whatever. And my sister finds him and she's like, hey, we got to go back to the room. You should probably get some sleep, or at the very least, you should stop drinking. And he looks at Ashley and he lets out this like high pitched screech and runs. Now, my sister was like a varsity athlete and she was very stocky, like because she lifted weights. She looked like she was swole 100% of the time. So Ashley's like, ugh. So she runs after my ex. And as my sister is chasing my ex, he is slowly, not really, taking off all of his clothing to throw it at her to try to stop her.
But he doesn't even have that much left at this point.
Yeah, that's the point. So Ashley is picking up the clothing as he's throwing it. She tackles him as he's taking his boxers off. She tackles him, wrestles his clothing back on, and then firemen carried him up like several flights of stairs to get back to the hotel room. Kicks the door in, drops him on the floor, and goes, stop your bullshit. We're done. You're done. You're cut off. Like, stop. And my ex looks at her and goes, we got to find Lauren because she's really drunk and she might be in trouble. And Ashley goes, Lauren is right there on the fucking couch. Go look at her. That's her. So my ex comes up to me and does like this. And he looks at her and goes, that's not my girlfriend. I know what my girlfriend's tits feel like. And that's definitely not her. And my sister was like, oh my fucking sweet Lord Almighty, that is Lauren. And she's like losing her shit at my ex. And she's like, stop your fucking shit. That's my fucking sister. I know my sister more than you know her. So stop your shit. So my ex goes, I really gotta pee. And Ashley goes, all right, whatever, pee, go pee. I don't care. The room we got had like 2 bathrooms.
Was it a suite?
No bed. It was a suite, but we had no beds. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, we had no beds, but we had plenty of couch space. Tons of couches.
How many couches to have no bed?
We had too many. Too many. So we have tons of couches, 2 bathrooms, 2 full bathrooms, and my ex goes into one and he uses the bathroom, and then he like falls and he's laying on the tile. And my sister goes in there and she goes, hey buddy, did you die? And he looks up at her and goes, it's like aspirin for my body, and then blacks out. So
I cannot tell you though how many times that cool, refreshing tile and that sweet nap on that nice, cool, refreshing tile.
So he wakes up the next day to people pissing over him. And
how many people were in this room?
We had like 7. Plenty of room though. So he wakes up and he's mad. He's like, all these people are peeing over me. And my sister goes, you passed out in the bathroom. And he goes, we have 2 bathrooms. She goes, I don't give a shit. You still passed out in the bathroom. So like, people are making a game of it. So I wake up, I don't get hangovers. And I'm like, oh, this is great. It's Saturday. Let's go get food. And my ex is like, I'm actually dying. I am dying. He was fine. The next night, Saturday night rolls up. And we're like, yeah, let's get our party on. Let's party just as hard as we did the night before. So we did not. So people are filtering in and out of the room. And at one point, like, if you don't go to anime conventions or you're not familiar with like the geek world, this is going to go over your head. A gaggle of Lolitas came into the room. So Lolita is a clothing style. It's a very generic term. I'm using it very generically, but you can Google Lolita clothing and you'll find it. So
I guess the easiest way to surmise it is that very almost like strawberry shortcake wore in the 80s. Like,
yeah, it's
petticoats,
very, like,
floofy,
oh, yeah.
very proper.
Yes. So they came in the room and they start screeching. And my ex is like, fuck this, I'm leaving, and leaves. So I think one of the Lolitas like broke a vase in our room or something. So
why did you have vases and no beds? Time out.
We also had like a dining room table. It was like a small panel room.
All right, I was going to say, what kind of room? It sounds like you're in like the tea room, not in a hotel room.
It was definitely like a tea room. It was not like a typical hotel room. I think we only got it because they ran out of the other rooms. So Ashley grabs like the head Lolita by her frilly little curls and she goes, "Get the fuck out of my room before I throw this bitch out the window." So they all like file out. And it's us and like some of our actual friends. And we're like, an hour later, I'm like, "Where's my ex-boyfriend?" Or like, "Where's even my boyfriend at the time? Where's my boyfriend?" And we were like, we all got it in our stupid fucking heads that we had to go find him. So I wander off with like a mutual friend and we wind up outside the hotel. And I go up to these two kids that are just like sitting around talking. I'm like, "Hey guys, do y'all know where the garage is? I'm looking for somebody." And this one kid gets up and he goes, "Fuck you." And I was like, "Well, it's a yes or no question. Do you know where the garage is?" And he gets a little closer to my face. I said, "Fuck you." And I was like, "Oh my God, that's not the answer I'm looking for, buddy."
He
So
wasn't one of those little weirdos with those little cone heads with the little stripy things, was he?
No, he's just a
What are
normal
those
kid.
things called? Oh, those kids.
Homestucks?
The what?
Homestuck? I don't know.
Yeah, those. Say it again because the thing cut off.
Yeah, no, it wasn't a cosplayer. It was just a kid.
Oh.
And he was, I mean, it was
those kids though, and their kumbayas.
Well, he was like, "I said fuck you," and I was like, "Hey man, I don't throw my hands. Like, I don't get into physical fights. I will if I have to, but this is not one of those times." So my friend who was with me was like, "That dude almost fucking punched you," and I was like, "Yeah, he almost did." And I'm young and I'm dumb and I'm stupid. You know, I don't know any better. So I call my sister. I go, "Ashley."
And did you call her and say somebody almost punched me?
Ashley, somebody almost punched me outside the
no.
hotel. And she was like, "Bitch, what?" And she hangs up the phone. She rolls up. I guess she like went through the hotel and was like, "Yo, my sister's about to get punched in the face. You want to come watch a fight?" And she rolls up 20 people deep. So we meet up outside and she goes, "Where's this kid that tried to hit you?" And I'm like, "He's over there." And Ashley's like, "Okay, I got this." So Ashley walks up to this child and she goes, "Hey, do you know where the entrance to the garage is?" And the kid gets up to hit her. Our friend intercepts. Friend gets hit, and like all 20 people like swarm this child, this teenager. And Ashley is doing what she does best, and she's like yelling, and she's like, "You want to fucking fight? Like, let's go!" And the kid takes like a few steps back and starts crying.
Come on.
And she was like, "What the fuck?" And this kid's like, "I'm sorry, my girlfriend just broke up with me, and it's just, I feel like you guys are, I don't know where the garage is." And Ashley's like, "Then why did you just say no? Why'd you make it a thing? Why did you make it a whole thing? You could have just said no. We would have been like, okay, he doesn't know." And like, we would have walked on with our lives. So we find the garage after like 4 hours. We find the fucking garage.
I was going to say, where's Beanpole at by this point?
We find the garage because he's not answering his phone. We don't know what happened to him. So we find the garage and then we have to like manually walk through every level looking for the car. And we find the car and he is passed out in the car. Thankfully, he was okay. And that's why we don't go to Anime USA anymore. That's why my sister doesn't go to conventions, period. I can't take her because she literally tries to fight everybody.
I mean, legit. But this year there are like no cons to go to anyway. I think last episode we talked about Dragon Con.
Dragon Con is still going on.
Well, right. It's not gone. But then I got the email this weekend, shore leave after 41 or 2 or whatever continuous years is actually going to put it on pause this year for everyone's safety. Because this is sort of the cutoff now. I know with a reservation I had for mid-June in Ocean City, we had to make that decision by the end of this month, and we made the decision to not go because we didn't want to do like an Airbnb situation and have to stay somewhere somebody had just stayed, not knowing. And
I think that was the responsible, safe thing to do.
Yeah, it's a bummer because shore leave to me is like my home number one con that my parents went to before I even started going to cons. My parents went to that con. So like to me, that's like home base. And to find out that it can't happen this year because of this is a total bummer, but again, responsible, because I keep saying this. It's like, yes, I am bummed that these things can't happen, but I'm going to be even more bummed if we reopen things too soon and lose even more.
I am genuinely sad that San Diego canceled. Um, I really enjoyed going to San Diego every year. I also go to Disneyland usually at the same time. Speaking of, I am about 80% certain that both Disneyland and Disney World will not reopen this year.
Yeah, that seems to be the general feeling for really a lot of things. Is, it
Yeah.
it kind of sucks, but it is what has to be done. I don't know if you caught any of SNL over the weekend. I don't generally watch it. I record it and then see what people post online on Sundays. And I will say, the Brad Pitt skit that opened the show, of Brad Pitt doing Dr. Fauci, because apparently Dr. Fauci said, well, if anybody was going to play me on SNL, I'd want it to be Brad Pitt. And Brad Pitt was like, okay.
I did see a picture. I have not watched it yet.
I
Should
have
I be
watched
watching
it. It's only like 3 minutes and change. It's less than 3 minutes and 30 seconds. So, 3.5 minutes out of your life is nothing. And I think he did the skit awesome. And then he capped it off in a really meaningful way without spoiling it. But I laughed the whole way through.
I'll
And
give it a
then
watch.
was like sort of touched at the end. And then at the same point, I think a lot of people are doing this with being at home, but we have been doing a lot of house cleaning, a lot of sorting, a lot of reorganizing. So one of the things that we did today before the podcast started was the ever so geeky chore of storing the boxes of boxes. Because if I do take something out of a box, I keep the box.
So
And so those tubs had to get put up in the eaves of the attic. And so that stuff had to happen today. And some of the other organizing.
I just started, I feel bad. I just started opening my Funko Pops. I think I said this last time. I've been opening Funko Pops. I feel like a rebel. Like I'm really just breaking the law by opening my Funko Pops.
Well, to me you are, but that's okay. You do you. I mean, I don't open. I didn't open a lot of my toys even growing up because that's how it kind of was. But I like the stackability of them being in the boxes, and my main reason for collecting them is sort of the OCD factor. And I'm not saying I'm OCD in that way of like, I'm saying it like I went to a doctor and I have a diagnosis and I have medication. And my OCD really likes all of my favorite characters being in the same size box and in the same format. Instead of having like, here are my strawberry shortcakes, and here are my gem, and here are my Masters of the Universe, and here are all these different sizes and scales and types and styles of figures. It's like, no, here's one style of everything, and it's all in the same size box. And when they first started coming out with 6 inches, I was resistant. And when they started coming out with even more sizes, I was totally resistant. I didn't like it.
So how do you feel that obviously a lot of the convention exclusive Funko Pops are not going to happen this year? I think I read somewhere that Funko was thinking of just shelving most of their toys for the year. Or their new releases. I don't know. Maybe
I mean, the child still came out on time.
Right. I did see a lot of people are getting their child. I have my child right here. She won't leave me the fuck alone.
So the child still came out, and I had been looking ahead and keeping track because that's just my jam. And my super jam being Full Metal Alchemist has figures coming out. There's more Masters of the Universe coming out. And what was the other one that I was just like over myself about? I can't even think of it now, but it was one that I lost it. Inuyasha.
Oh, so you can yell Kagome. Years.
Sure.
Man, man. You know what I'm gonna miss?
Inuyasha.
You know what
Anyway,
I'm really gonna miss Otakon because I don't think Otakon's gonna happen this year.
I mean, with shore leave being booked for July and just bowing out, Otakon is fall, and yeah, fall is. I guess I'm
Otakon
watching summer slip away, and at this point, yeah, I'm expecting fall to.
Otakon is in July.
Oh, it's in July now?
Otakon is always a summer convention.
Well, listen, they moved it out of Baltimore, and I just. Bleh.
It's July or August. Fall Baltimore Comic Con supposedly still happening.
So far. Oh, it was Anime USA that was late fall.
Yes, Anime USA is always late fall. Otakon is always summer. That defined my summer for like at least 13 years. That was the defining moment of my summer. Especially
I just
like
got messed up with them moving. You know that. It's just like when TV shows move. Like I can't.
I was, when they moved to DC, I was heartbroken because I felt like they were in Baltimore for like 20 years.
All 20 years, basically.
No, not true.
No, where was? Oh, the Vegas.
They started
one.
at. No, that was still a part of Otakon. Otakon East, so proper Otakon. Vegas Otakon still happened at the same time as regular Otakon. But when Otakon first started, they were actually out of like a little college/hotel. And they weren't always in Baltimore.
Where was that?
I want to say it was once in Pennsylvania. But it was like Otakon 1 or 2. Because it wasn't always.
I wasn't there yet. My friends were going. I was going to Philly and visiting my boyfriend and not paying attention to my friends. I was being a bad friend back then.
I think they moved to the convention center, I want to say in 98 or 99. So, but
right, and that's when they were more on my radar.
Right, and then I started going in 99. So, yeah, I've never missed an Otakon. This will be the first year I miss an Otakon because obviously of what's happening.
But isn't Otakon going to miss itself possibly? So,
basically,
do you really miss it if it misses itself?
True, that's a very good question because I'm going to be in the same. I'm also assuming that Otakon cancels because they have yet to announce that they're canceled. Now, the DC Convention Center has been turned into like a makeshift hospital. So therein poses another question. Do you want to be in a building that was a makeshift hospital maybe 2-3 weeks ago?
No.
Right.
Maybe a month. Maybe 2 or 3 months. Maybe 6 months. That'd be good.
I mean, like, let's say, because they're saying that we're going to have to social distance through the summer, whomever the experts are. CDC.
And then there's the whole, is there going to be a second wave fall, winter?
Right. And I truly don't see anything happening until we have a vaccine or at least a viable way of treating and curing this when people get sick.
Well, vaccine, they said, is 18 months.
Right. So that would be next year.
Yeah.
So do you think, it sucks because, look at Baltimore, for example. How many places are going to close or just go out of business because they can't sustain themselves?
But then there's the other aspect of how many employees are going to go back to a place when they're saying, right, hey, we can bring you back for 10 hours. And they're like, but I'm going to have to subtract that off my unemployment.
Right. Because I got furloughed from my jobs. I mean, I'm on unemployment finally, but it's not easy. It's not easy. And then to have to go back and like I have I have pre-existing conditions. So my new fear is if I go back to work and people were like, oh, well, people who have pre-existing conditions or the elderly, they'll just have to stay in isolation. Well, who's going to pay my bills?
Right.
I
Who's
only have
paying this mortgage? I mean, yes, I am married and have a husband who is still working as an essential employee. But when we purchased this home, I had my own income that was contributing to this mortgage as well.
right.
And now I don't have that. And I also have a car bill, and we both
Right.
have cell phones, etc. So it's like, yeah, where does that money all come from? Where's, my parents are retired, they're on fixed income. I don't I don't have anywhere else it's coming from other than, him or them, so, or myself. So
Right.
where's it going to come from? I'm blessed and lucky that I have my voice tracking and freelancing and my gig at the comic book store. But right now, the way things are set up, I have to subtract what I'm making at the comic book store from my unemployment, which I do because I keep things above board. I'm not an under the table kind of gal, and I don't work at an under table kind of shop. So I go and I work those hours, and I have to subtract it from my unemployment. So it's like I get up off my butt to go out of the house because I want to. And I'm also
I
working in a store with one other human. So it's not like I'm at total risk. I'm not dealing with the public, and I'm not even physically still, like, even within the shop with two people, we're social distancing.
I I was doing on my I have a coffee account. So I was doing a special this weekend where if you bought me a coffee, I wrote you a shitty little poem. It's like, thank you. Because it's like that I do freelance too, but again, freelance is not guaranteed. You get paid maybe once a month and you hope for the best otherwise.
And
That's
some of
why I
my
was looking.
freelancers cut my rate. They're like, oh, in these times of trouble because of the ad rates, etc., we're going to have to cut your rate 20%. And it's again like, are you a valued customer that I trust that will return my rates to what they were?
That's a scary thought.
Or are you cutting me 20% or whatever? And do you expect me to keep going with that? For how long? Because what?
I mean, I get it. I want to go back to work. I want to go see my friends. I want to see my boyfriend. Like, I haven't done any of that since March 14th. But I also want to play it safe and I
That whole
don't want the
dating thing sucks. I can't even fathom that. I mean, you can speak to that better than me, but I've had like single friend, like true single friends, not like friends with partners and dating and stuff, but like truly straight up single friends who are like, human interaction, what is that?
it's a shame. I can speak from it from my own personal what's happening. So my boyfriend is psychologist. He's the one that cannot prescribe medication.
That's colleges. Psychiatrist has the pills. Trust, I'm an
Thank,
expert.
thank you.
Hmm.
So, but he's been doing mostly telework, but he still sees patients. And we talked about this before the whole quarantine happened. We had discussed where I would go, and we found it best that I just came back to Baltimore to quarantine down here. And I grew up with no friends. I didn't make my first friend until middle school. So to me, this isolation and being alone is normal. It doesn't seem as awful as it seems for other people. And but I feel bad for my best friend is a massage therapist. She can't go to work. She's touch deprived. It's terrible. I feel awful. My boyfriend craves any kind of interaction with another adult who isn't his patient. And I can't provide that physically. I can do it over the phone. But it's really causing so many other little problems. They're not little, but they're in the grand scheme of things. It's awful. I would love to see my friends again. I'd love to see you in real life. But also I know like the greater good is all of us staying away from each other.
I mean, that's really the best option for me. I'm another health compromised kind of person, and I also grew up with limited friends and like a very small, tight group of friends who understood that when I said I couldn't come out and play, it's not because I didn't want to, it's because I couldn't. You know, my ankle was sprained, my lungs were acting up, there was something. I just recovered from surgery or whatever was going on. So
Right.
I have equated a lot of this time to like, it's like a surgery recovery. Oh, it's like when I was sick or whatever. It's like the only thing that's given me any solace, honestly, and I say this as a person who missed their literal entire year of sophomore year of high school to the point where they were almost held back by the state if they didn't have the grades that lined up with like, no, you can't hold me back because I got into honor society this year, so you can't. Like, no, I don't care that I only went to school 30 days this year. Like, you can't hold me back. So I say that as a person who missed their entire sophomore year of high school. But like, I'm like, the only thing that makes me feel any better is like, I'm not missing concerts because they're not happening. I'm not missing birthday parties because they're not happening. I'm not missing things because they're not happening. Because when I was sick at home, in bed, not able to interact with people, watching the rest of the world go by and not being able to participate, that played so much into a level of isolation and depression. And now it's like, hey, we're all in this together. We're all doing this together. We all are doing this for the greater good. And it's like, for me, it's like I can get behind that a little, you know, more than just being stuck at home by myself, where I made friends with books and movies and all the things that make me the geek that I am now, you know, where those were my friends, TVs and movies and books and characters and Legos and things. That's what I had. My only sibling is a boy who's 6.5 years younger than me. So even in terms of siblings, like we didn't become friends until later.
Right. Right.
You know,
I mean,
what does a 12-year-old girl have in common with a 6-year-old boy? Punching him in the face.
you know, yeah. Speaking of, not to derail off of a serious topic, but I was in the same boat with me. My friends were in the pages of comic books. I grew horribly, not horribly, but like unusually attached to like the characters from Archie comics. Like I'm wearing a Pop's chocolate shop hoodie that I bought from Hot Topic, but those were my friends because I didn't have friends in real life. They existed in the pages of comic books, and I mean I guess that's why I'm still very attached to Archie to this day. So it was a little. It was definitely an eye opener when I made my first real friend because I didn't know how to talk to them. I didn't know how to treat them. We're still friends to this day, which is interesting. But speaking of comic books and things that I'm reading, it was a nice little segue I just did.
I love segues.
So this is a new book by Craig Yell called Pirates because I don't think any of us are getting the Renaissance Festival this year.
Oh, you're right. Probably not.
Yeah, I didn't think of that, did you? Yeah, it's sad. You know, Pirate Festival usually happens in April too. You know, it didn't fucking happen. So this is curated. It was not created, it was curated by Ed Cato. I hope I'm saying that right. And Craig Yo. Craig Yo, if you're not familiar with Yo books, he does a lot of reprint books and like history type books. So you know that Archie book I'm in? That's a Craig Yo book. Um, I think he had to do. I helped with Archie America's a tribute to America's Favorite Teenager. I'm also in the Art of Betty and Veronica, which I think is also a Yo book. I am not in this book, so it is not shameless self-promotion. But this is a really cool book. It reprints a lot of golden and atomic age pirate stories, and they're in full color.
Oh, I
And
like that Buccaneers cover.
yeah, they
That was
have some
good.
cool. put the covers in here. They range from like funny animal comics to I don't know if children should be reading this type comics, but I do think this is a really good all ages book if it's 8 and above. But this is a really cool if you need something to read, I really suggest Pirates.
Pirates.
By Clover Press and Yo Books, and it's $12.99.
I dig it. I dig it. I dig it. I'm still working on my Joseph Campbell books because there are a lot, but I did get a few more of my Mary Magdalene books in. And what I did, because I ordered a whole bunch, and then I got this at work in the $5 bin. It's called Light Step, and it's about a group of rebels seeking a weapon hidden in transmissions of a radio drama from Earth that's thousands of years old. And so it kind of was giving me like a reverse world of War of the Worlds feel. Like, hold on. Hi, what's up, Whiskey? War of the World. The one with H.G. Wells that has W's in it. War of the Worlds. I did say it right. I just can't hear myself right in my own head right now. Tom Cruise's fault. We'll blame him.
Let's be real. It's Jameson's fault.
It's Jameson's fault. It's always Jameson's fault. If I was ever to reproduce a child of boy of human earth, it was going to be named Jameson after my grandfather and whiskey, which my grandfather would have hated. The whiskey wouldn't have minded, though.
So, you obviously love pho.
Yes, I love it either way.
Have you been able to get any?
No. I think they all shut down. I think either...
Wait, what about the one in Timonium?
I didn't go to the one in Timonium. I'm not going to Timonium right now. That is too far from Parkville.
Yeah, that's true.
Cheers. Yes. I haven't left this bubble. I've gone as far as Towson Place Target on one end, and Ridge Road, like that Target that's over like the White Marsh Target, basically. I've gone over there.
Okay.
And I've gone as far as the Chesley Liquors and the Wise Market on Bel Air Road. Like, I am very much in a very, very small bubble. I am getting like a month to the tank in my car.
Yeah, so you have a Subaru.
No, I switched my car for an endorsement at my old job and got a Nissan Rogue, which got slightly better gas mileage than the Subaru, still with the all-wheel drive. And I loved Nissans anyway. My first favorite car that I bought brand new that I actually paid off ever was a Nissan Sentra. So I was excited to switch back to Nissan. And I'm still very happy with it, actually, even though I'm not being paid to talk about how much I like it.
I drive a car from Germany, and this is the best gas mileage I've ever gotten from.
But that's the thing, is not only is it sitting in front of my house more, when I go out on the road, there's less people, so I'm still getting better gas mileage when I am on the road.
That's true. I went to pick up beer from Atomic Books yesterday, which again, by the way, if you haven't picked up beer, you can order it ahead from Atomic Books and just pick it up. They bring it out to your car.
I do love that. I might have to do that. I was thinking about going down to Fells Point tomorrow because one of the shops I like down there is having a curbside pickup and buy one, get one for a penny.
Oh, woohoo!
Of one other. I'll tell you offline.
Okay. Okay. Would you say is it Max's? Because I haven't been to Max's in a hot fucking
it
minute.
is certainly not Max's.
I do miss Max's though. Oh man.
Hold on.
Oh, I see. I
Buy
do
one, get
miss.
one for a penny.
That's a great deal.
That's a great deal. So I'm thinking about going to Felsmar. Plus, I need to pick up more red spray paint. What else would I need at Lowe's? Oh, potting soil. Because
Oh,
freaking squirrels, man. These freaking squirrels. My neighbor next door is a retired old man, and he's hand feeding peanuts to these fat squirrels, even though I have a freaking walnut tree in my backyard, and these squirrels are coming over in my garden, and they're tearing up my herbs and stuff, and so I'm going to go all balls to the wall on these squirrels without shooting them with freaking pellet guns. So I got mint to plant, because apparently they don't like mint, and if you plant mint around the perimeter, they'll go away. So I've gotten 4 new mint plants. They don't like cayenne, so I got a big new thing of pepper. I'm gonna sprinkle some cayenne and get a little bam, get a little bam. And then yeah. What else was I doing? I don't even remember. Freaking squirrels.
but you should stop at Atomic Books and order something.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, since I already gotta go down to Fells to go to that store and get my buy one get one for a penny, and maybe I'll get some crowler action down at Atomic before I come back up, because even though I got some mead and I got some ciders, I didn't get a lot of beer because I didn't go down to Chesley to do their make your own 6-pack, but I definitely want to get a little mix and match on the beer, because again, yeah, unless it's Bo or Yingling, I'm really not finishing a 6 of the same thing.
So unrelated, but
freaking squirrels.
But speaking on that, yo, dude, for real though, you have to watch The Midnight Gospel on Netflix.
What's that?
So it's by.
Is it about killing squirrels?
No, it's not. Things do die, but it's animated.
Oh.
So it's from the creator from Adventure Time, and I believe it's the host. I gotta Google it. I'm sorry, guys. I'm drinking whiskey. The host of Drunk History.
Oh.
So, yeah. I watched it in an altered state of mind on Friday night, and it's so good. It's based off of the Duncan Trussell Family Hour, which is his podcast, and they take clips from the podcast and they animate around it. The animation is reminiscent of Adventure Time, but way, way more trippy, and it's really good. Like the first episode, the guest is Drew Pinsky, Dr. Drew.
I love him.
And they're talking in the podcast about using marijuana or like mind-altering drugs. But the animation is, so the main character is named Clancy, and he goes into different worlds that are about to die in different avatars. And he interviews people in that world that's about to die about just like different things. So in the first episode, he goes to Earth and he's interviewing Drew Pinsky, who the cartoon version, he's the president, and there's a zombie apocalypse.
Oh my God, if Drew Pinsky was the president, we wouldn't be in this mess. And I don't even want to be political in this podcast, but let's face it, Drew Pinsky is awesome.
So it's a very, and what happens on the podcast has nothing to really do with what's happening in the animation. But they talk about, I mean, it's a wild fucking show. It's so good.
Are we talking about more disconnected than Space Ghost?
Yeah. Space Ghost had a very deliberate point. It was.
So we're talking like liquid television level then.
Oh yeah, yes, definitely. That's more correct.
Ooh.
Space Ghost still had like a weird point to it. This has a weird point, but it's more liquid television than Space Ghost Coast to Coast, not regular Space Ghost. Coast
Well,
to Coast.
obviously.
I have to get to too.
I mean coast to coast when I say Space Ghost, because regular Space Ghost is just kind of a cartoon,
Regular Space Ghost
Hanna-Barbera,
was
whatever.
fine. Well, I think we're in like the same age range, and Coast to Coast came on when I was in elementary school. And like if I stayed up late enough, I would catch it. And I was like, this is something else. And when I got older, I researched it. I was like, oh, I see how they did it and what they did. And that's fucking brilliant. Midnight Gospel on Netflix is it'll expand your mind. You'll
Okay,
think
I'm gonna
about
have
things.
to do that because what
Yeah,
I did, being a little bit older than you, but my brother sort of being younger than you, is and we didn't have cable in my house until I was 16, so we would
okay.
like spend the night at my grandparents and watch this stuff, and then like have our minds blown, and then like be obsessed with the episodes that we saw, but then like not get more of it until the next time we spent the night, kind of thing. But Space Ghost Coast to Coast was one of those things, and him being younger than me, he got exposed to it early. But
Mm.
we can both sing all the Brack songs, like front to back, backwards, forwards, and upside down. And then like I ended up buying all of the DVDs. So we have them, and then I lent them to him. So he's watched them since older and gotten the new appreciation for them. And I mean, they're fantastic. But liquid television, I was more exposed to and did not expose him to.
I I think it'll remind you of that. The animation is beautiful. If you like Adventure Time and that style of animation,
I love that too. I did actually pick up DVDs of that too, because it's another one that's not as easy to find on streaming still, always.
yeah, I don't own any of it on DVD. I watched Adventure Time. I cosplayed as Lumpy Space Princess at one point. Um, I did get to interview the cast at San Diego before the last season, and I never put two and two together that the voice actor for Jake the dog is the same as Bender from Futurama.
You didn't?
I didn't put two and two together
Ah!
until he was sitting in front of me and he's talking, and I'm like, oh my god, that's Bender. Like, if I
Oh,
could talk on
that's one of
San
my
Diego
favorite
Con,
games. That's half the reason why I go to cons is for the voice actor thing. Because I mean, obviously, as a radio person who's always wanted to get into voice acting, like that's always been like the dream. So it's like those are always my jam. I mean, I got to talk to Romy Park, and that was just like, wait, what? Like she didn't even have any idea what I was saying. I almost wish that we were better friends back then, because I would have drugged you along to be my personal translator. Because
I I got to tell you, man,
that
I
was just like,
did
whoa.
I did I've interviewed a lot of celebrities over the years. I did a press roundtable, so you know what that is.
Yeah.
If if you don't know what a press roundtable is, it's a table of press people and one celebrity, and all of you are interviewing at the same time.
And it
So
could be a
I
little
did.
dog eat dog in that circle.
Thankfully, the circles that I tend to run in are not exactly dog eat dog, but we're all
Okay, in
allowed to
radio, especially commercial radio.
yeah, it's not really like that, and I mean I have a different opinion or experience than other people. I don't know. So anyway, so I got an invite, or I was asked to do Ash versus the Evil Dead, which was the show, and I was like, oh my fucking god, yes, I want to do that one. And it was so we interviewed. Obviously, the main cast was there, including Bruce Campbell. So that I think that was a cool highlight of my working experience. I once ran after Ted Rainey into an elevator at San Diego. I had been drinking with my friend Rich from Barzinga, and I look up and I see Ted standing at the other side of the bar, and I was like, oh my fucking god, I'm drunk. So I'm like grabbing Rich. I'm like, Rich, oh my fucking God, look who it is. And Rich is like, I don't know who that is. I'm like, what is your fucking deal, man? So I'm like, that's Ted Raimi. And he's just like, oh. So I'm wearing heels. I'm in a dress. I don't have a sports bra on. And I was like, I need to say hi to Ted Raimi. Like, he's so great. Ran full speed into an elevator after him. And I was like, hey, man, I don't want to be weird. This is pretty weird already. I really love Ash versus the Evil Dead. And he was like, thank you. So kind of you. He was really cool about it. I was a fucking weirdo. But, you know, I get some great stories.
Sometimes you got to be that weirdo, and that's just how it is. I mean, I'm trying to think. I have been 3,000% professional 99% of all the interviews I've ever done.
Yeah, me too. 100%.
And I'm trying to think of where I really lost it. And I would have to say I did a phone interview with Gwen Stefani where I was barely able to iterate words in English because I had been madly in love with her since about 1994 or 5. And by that point, it was 2015. So there was a lot of pent up emotions, and I was just like, blah, word, blah, blah, music, yeah.
I interviewed.
And I kind of fell off the train. But I'm trying to think, did I ever run after anybody other than Shawn Mendes? I did run after Shawn Mendes. But that's music stuff. But comic and nerd people that I've actually chased after, Terry, no. I saw John Barrowman on the floor at AwesomeCon and tapped him on the shoulder. And then he reacted to me noticing him. But I didn't really chase after him. But also, he's very well known for being very personable on the floor.
He is incredibly personable when he's on that convention.
But I did tap him on the shoulder at least to get him to turn around. But other than dying on myself and my love of Gwen Stefani and tapping John on the shoulder, I'm trying to think and chasing Shawn Mendes past Taylor Swift's tour bus at Nat Stadium in DC. Now, I don't, most of the time I keep my cool. But there are those rare occasions where you're just like, John Barrowman! Shawn Mendes! Word, Gwen Stefani, no. It happens.
When I wasn't working, I went as a fan. When I met Roxette, it was like, I don't know what language I speak anymore. I think I forgot how words are made, and this is a thing. But I will say, professionally, I've only been tongue-tied once.
Well, yeah, John was on the floor, so that's not professional. And Shawn was also, that was outside of a tour bus. That was not professional. Gwen was the only one professionally that I even warned my partner on the show at the time, like, when we interview her, listen, over here is going to be, so you're going to have to speak the English words, and I'll be over here hyperventilating, and just let her know I'm here and dying. And that'll be that.
I interviewed Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Norman Reedus at the same time.
Ooh, Norman Reedus, hi.
And the big thing with the interview was I was not allowed to ask any questions related to The Walking Dead, which is very easy for me because I have not watched The Walking Dead. Okay. So I was like, yeah, okay, sure. That's totally, I can do that. I am familiar with Norman Reedus' other works. I wrote my senior thesis in college on Watchmen. So I was more excited about talking to Jeffrey Dean Morgan because I brought it up. I was like, I graduated college because I think 5 pages of my thesis were dedicated to just like the comedian, specifically his portrayal. And we wound up talking more about my senior year of college. And then Norman Reedus looked at my pinup pictures on Facebook and like he showed them to Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and they're both like, "Oh wow, that they were looking at my pictures. They're like, wow, that green dress is really pretty on you." And I was like, ah! So that's like the only time where I've been like,
Now, I knew from the jump with that interview that I was going to be no bueno. So I still feel like I handled it professionally to say, like, listen, I'm going to be no good.
On a non-professional level, this was before I ever started working in entertainment in any capacity. He was at shore leave. I think it was definitely a shore leave. You've seen Torchwood.
Oh, of course.
I don't think we knew each other then.
No, not when that show was new. No.
The main woman, Eve Miles, is that her name? Eve Miles. She was at the bar at shore leave, and I wanted to be like cool kid McGee and take a selfie with her to send to my parents who are Torchwood fans. And so I sit down and like I knew somebody at her table, so I was like, I just want to talk to her for like 2 minutes, and they're like, okay, fine, she's drunk, whatever. She had been drinking. So I'm talking
At
to her,
shore
and I'm like,
leave at the bar?
that bar is infamous. Infamous. So we're drinking, and like we're all drinking, and she's the nicest person. She was like, I'll absolutely take a selfie with you. She's like, you are really pretty. You're so pretty. And I was like, thanks, you are too. So she was a nice person. I really liked hanging out with her. She's just fun. And that's the other reason why I'm so sad about Shore Leave canceling, because I like Shore Leave as a convention. I like it more hanging out in the bar.
It's such an intimate convention, though, because even in the main room for the big panels, like, it's not that big of a room. You can get your question in. You can find a seat in the front row. You can be there and be close, and you can see and you can feel, and you can, at the bigger cons, especially, like, as much as I love going to AwesomeCon because they get so many great guests and you can run into John Barrowman on the floor, when you go into that main room to see a panel, you can double up on disability on press like we both can do, and you still can be.
That hotel in general, so for those of you not familiar, it is the Delta Hunt Valley Inn. So
Yes.
it's right across from Wegmans. If you're not familiar with what we're talking about, it's a hotel right off the highway or right off the 83 corridor.
Yes, it's exit 20 Shawan Road off of 83.
It's a convention hotel.
Mm-hmm.
And it has ample free parking. And again, across the street from a Wegmans, there's also a McDonald's and other places. It's in a very good location.
And there's also a couple other hotels there that if the hotel sells out, there are ample other places to stay within walking and very reasonable Uber distance, with the Days Inn, and that's down York Road. And what's right across?
Embassy Suites.
Yeah, Embassy Suites.
But like it's a great spot for like smaller conventions. Balticon was there for a long time before they jumped ship. Great convention hotel. You and I have spent so much time at that bar.
Right. I'm thinking like the Fairy Cons. I'm thinking the earlier Doctor Who cons and things like that. Before they moved to downtown and down to DC, they were there. I've done a ton of other charity events there too, Fashion Rocks Autism and things like that. It really is a great spot.
It's a great place. Monster Mania is there every year.
Yeah, right. Monster Mania and Nostalgia Con.
That's what I miss the most about all of this. The conventions, I go to so many conventions a year. This will be a great year of me not going to conventions officially. I didn't go to Capsicon, skipped MagFest. I miss that feeling of community, specifically at that hotel. Really, truly, I miss the feeling of community I miss the conventions that were there. I think we're gonna miss out. Obviously, everything will just be postponed until next year. But also, how many conventions will be able to survive and into next year? Will we have a lot of these conventions anymore?
I think shore leave, yes. I'm willing to
Yeah,
put money on shore leave, yes.
I'm putting money on shore leave.
Because it's
Obviously,
40 plus years old already. I mean, that's well
right.
established.
But that doesn't mean anything. So many of these conventions run on such a tight profit margin. Uh, I'm not worried about San Diego. San Diego will be fine. Any convention by Reed Pop, I think they'll be fine. I'm not really worried about Otakon. I also kind of am, but conventions like Balticon. Balticon is doing a virtual con this year. I don't know if you've seen it.
No, I hadn't.
They're doing it
I
virtual.
am, though, you had invited me to Constellation.
Yes.
And I have
So
been
that's
very much enjoying that virtual con.
Constellation has been wonderful. I think if you're on Facebook and you have not joined Constellation, you should go join Constellation. It's a virtual convention, and it's almost like being there. Obviously, nothing is like being at a convention, but it's a very nice, it's a nice corner of the internet. And
I've been enjoying that. I did I'm in a DC and Marvel Fans United group, and we're doing Friday night movie watches together and voting on what movies we're going to watch. So on Friday, we all co-watched Guardians of the Galaxy, which broke out into a fantastic meme war, which, meme lord over here was definitely pew, 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 pew.
Well, speaking of James Gunn.
Oh, are we bringing up boyfriend again?
I do think James Gunn is very attractive, and my
Okay.
boyfriend looks like him. But that's not what I'm talking about.
Okay.
So James Gunn was doing viewing parties for Guardians and Guardians 2 on Twitter. So you just had to watch your own copy at 9 p.m. Eastern and go on Twitter and interact. So we did volume 2 on Thursday, this past Thursday. And it was a lot of fun. Volume 1, I think, was more fun, but he's been doing that. I did a few watch parties with Tiger King. Because honestly, you can watch Tiger King more than once and catch things you did not catch the first time, because it's a fucking hot mess of the show. Have you seen it? You've seen it, right?
Oh yeah, but I only did one viewing.
So I reviewed it for the website I write for, and I had to watch it again. And then I watched the follow-up episode with Joel McHale.
I still haven't watched that one.
It's not good. It's okay. Joel McHale is fine. TMZ did a follow-up episode, which is
A follow-up on the follow-up?
The follow-up on the whole series, and it's on Hulu. And that one, because it's TMZ and it's so sensationalized, it's actually better. So they interview Travis Barker from Blink-182 and get his hot take on Tiger King. So if you ever wondered what the drummer of Blink-182 thinks about Tiger King, it's on Hulu.
Is that the opinion we didn't know we needed?
Apparently.
Okay.
Dr. Phil gives his take on it. Yeah,
I don't need Dr. Phil's take on anything, but okay.
But it's like they got a whole bunch of like hot takes from people that had nothing to do with it, and it's like I like Blink-182. I don't think I really care about his opinion on Tiger King, but okay, fine. This is what we're doing in quarantine. But yeah, you should definitely watch.
I do like Blink-182, especially the Dude Ranch album, and especially
that's a good album.
Have a big soft spot in my heart for the song Josie. Sorry.
So
Not sorry.
when I first met my boyfriend,
James
we're
Gunn
talking about
Jr.
they're
We will
the
call
same
him
age.
James Gunn Jr.
They're the same age though.
So, James Gunn Jr.
He was like, I named my daughter after an Archie character. I'm not gonna say who.
Not
But I was
Josie.
like, maybe. So
You never told me that.
I'll tell you after the podcast.
Okay.
But he was like, yeah, I named my daughter after an Archie character. And I was like, that's the nerdiest thing I've ever heard. But also, I didn't know that that was my specific aesthetic until you just said it.
But I'm looking at you suspicious.
I was like, but he legitimately liked Archie comics without any influence of me. And I was like,
I'm still suspicious. I know you don't want to give up the name right now, but I'm making a suspicion at you.
I was like, you mean to tell me that you genuinely like Archie, which he does? His background on his phone, the first day we met, his like phone lit up and it was an Archie comic book cover. And I was like, this dude actually likes Archie comics without me being like, Archie's so great. And pretty sure I fell in love with him that night, but you know, it's only been a couple months. I don't want to be like, I love you, let's run off and get married because you like Archie comics.
Except you just did.
We're not married.
With sarcasm, but still.
We're dating. But no, it was,
that's okay. Once upon a time, I made out with my husband in front of. No. Well, yes, that happened too. Once upon a time, I made out with my ex-boyfriend in front of my current husband at a show, and then I made out with my current husband in front of the same ex-boyfriend at another show. And then I didn't go to a show with that ex-boyfriend because I was going with the current husband to that show because they both wanted to go on a date to the same show with me. These were all things that happened in a 10-year time period, mind you.
Oh, okay.
Like 5 years, 5 years, 5 years. It was very complicated.
Man,
and there were other husbands in between. I mean, it really
I've never been married.
Don't do it until you're sure for real. I say that to everybody.
I would love to get married one day. But really,
for sure, for real though.
Yeah.
I'll never get married because it's the thing to do, and don't ever get married because you want to have a wedding because you can always throw a fantastic party just because you're fantastic.
That's true. Plus, I just want to elope. I don't want a big wedding.
I did that once. It was good.
Yeah. I mean, I saw pictures because we met right before you got married to your current husband.
But you saw pictures from the elopement, right?
Yeah. And I saw pictures from your wedding to your current husband. They looked great. It looked like a nice time.
But that was only like 100 guests plus family and party, so it was like 120 people.
I told my current boyfriend, and I was like, not to tell you because I want to, but like just because maybe it'll work out. I don't know. I want to elope. I don't want. I've never wanted a big wedding. I just don't. I like the idea of going to Vegas or just a courthouse wedding.
I can say from having various types of weddings, because I tried to mix things up to keep them all like separate, that there were definitely advantages to the running away thing and the witnesses. I have a best friend from like 5th grade who was like, because that's again when I got my first real true best friend, who was like, you can't do this without me. And I was like, fine. If you're coming, you're getting your own hotel room and you're doing your own thing, and you can come with us to lunch and you can come and be a witness, and then you can have the rest of your own vacation, but we're not doing a co-vacation because I do not vacation with people.
Oh, I don't either.
My
No.
parents did that with us growing up, and it was like not a good experience to go co-vacationing with other families. So I'm like really not a fan of vacationing with more than just my person.
I, yeah, I definitely, you've known me long enough.
Yeah,
Yes.
and you're super girl on going on your own or with one other person.
I prefer to vacation by myself. As you know, I went to London for a few days by myself before work. I had work in London and I went a few days before work started. And I just walked around London by myself for like
I've
two
seen
and a
you
half,
go with
3 days.
mama, and I've seen you
I'll
go
take
with BFFs to things.
right. I'll take my mom. I might take, or like I've taken you. I've taken Allison
Right.
or Julie. I usually try to limit it to just one other person.
Because I feel
I
like
don't.
you get too many opinions on, well, I want to do this. Well, I want to do this. Well, I want to do this. And to me, when you have that many opinions, it's like, okay, well, if that's what you want to go do it. Like, not to be
Right.
rude, but like, just then go do it. And
Right.
then people are like, well, it's being rude. And it's like, no, just go do it.
I yeah. Like
And people get like all
anyway,
wrapped up about it. And it's like, you know what? Then I just need only like my opinion or like mine and one other person's opinion. But beyond that, like, no, thank you.
like when I do conventions, I'll bring one other person just because of my medical stuff. So for like health reasons, and I gotta say the people that I have, it's really just Allison. Sometimes you, sometimes Julie, but mostly Allison. Um, Allison is the best, best handler. I'm gonna call her handler, assistant, whatever. She's the best. She's so good, and she's good with the camera too. So if I need her to take like a video, she's like, yeah, I got this. And like, I don't have to explain anything to her. She's fucking on the money. She's so good. Like, I'll take my mom to events. Like, remember when we did? You were nice enough to get me into it. The food event at
Oh, Aberdeen at the ballpark.
yeah, at Aberdeen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, my mom had such a fucking blast that day. My parents sing your praises though every day. Um, she had a blast. That was actually a lot of fun. I'm gonna miss that. I miss food festivals. I
I
love
miss
that food.
food in general. I miss food that I didn't make. I put my life on the line the other day and went into a Royal Farms to get a cup of coffee just because I was tired of drinking coffee that I made.
I
Like I was just like I was done. Like I was like I need a cup of coffee that somebody else made. I can't. I can't drink one more cup that I made myself.
I do a lot of carry out. I do carry out once or twice a week. But I broke down the other day. I was like, I just want some fucking chicken nuggets. So I just went to McDonald's and got like a fuck ton of chicken nuggets because I just want some fucking nuggets. I have plenty of food in my freezer. I cook all the time. I don't mind cooking, but sometimes you just gotta be like, I want a fucking cheeseburger that I didn't make. That's it. That's
Right.
all I want.
I needed a cup of coffee I didn't make. Today when we went for the 89-cent tacos, like we've had taco night at home. We get the taco kits, we get the ground beef, we get whatever. It's like, I need a taco I didn't make. I want Fresco style. I want to roll up and I want to get my I want Fresco style. I want to say to somebody, 3 crunchy tacos Fresco style and have them handed to me through a window. I just want that.
I get it. I understand. And like I'll get delivery to my house every blue moon. Like I'll order from places. You know what I really miss? I miss Korean barbecue.
Oh, but that is like the anti-social distancing food of the century.
No.
You are co-grilling your
Oh,
food like together at the table. It's like going to hibachi or anything else like that, man. You can't like co-grill your
I
food right now.
I want to go to Honey Pig. I miss Honey Pig.
Yes.
I miss going. I almost I really want to go out and just take pictures of everything because I'm a photographer. I love taking pictures. I just miss going to like Honey Pig, Tooth Jaws. I'm saying it wrong because I don't speak French.
Which
Chilla
one?
Bakery, Tooth Jaws,
Where's that?
Route 40, Ellicott City. It's
Oh,
across from Chilla Bakery.
okay.
It's on the way. So like when you hit 40 and you're going towards Honey Pig or towards where Enchanted Forest used to be,
Yeah.
Tooth Jaws is on the right. Sheila's on the left. They're both Korean bakeries, and they're god amazing. So fucking amazing. I miss that.
I
I miss,
need a good place to get bun, but I was going to check the A-Mart for it.
I've
I
been
need
thinking more.
bun because I'm going to make a variation on the recipe for po' boys. I wrote it down. We were watching food TV, and I need H Mart red shrimps, and I need really good bun, and I'm gonna make po' boys.
I miss food.
Yeah. You have a really good recipe for that. And then my boss asked me to make here's where we geek out. My boss asked me to make lambus bread, like Lord of the Rings elven bread. And
Okay.
I Googled 2 different recipes. And one is very shortbread, and one has a lot of really great flavors, but it's definitely not a shortbread. And back before people got into not eating carbs, my standard like crafty Christmas gift to people was, and also before people got gluten free, was I would make real Scottish shortbread off of my great grandma's recipe using an antique shortbread press. And I saw the lambus bread recipe that was very shortbready and was like, okay, dude, I think I can whip something up.
All of
And,
my friends, obviously you included, have been making bread.
well, I mean, this is technically shortbread, which is just really a cookie. It's not really bread at all.
That's true.
So I haven't done a lot of baking. I've done a lot of cooking.
I've been doing a lot of baking. I love sweets, so I've been doing a lot of baking, and I don't know. I bought some meat that I was gonna make a Philly cheesesteak with. Excuse me, haven't gotten to it yet.
Hold on a second. We have some first person shooter going on in the room next door. I think the old man has fired up Doom. I made a special request because I am not super good at new school video games. And by new school, I mean anything that's not on a PC from 1992.
Oh man, dude, come on.
No, I haven't even had time for games in that long. So I had a laptop. My very first laptop had the original like 1992 or 1993, the very original Doom on it. And that's like the one video game that I can severely ace. So in Dave's effort to get me to be able to play the PlayStation 3 that we have, or 4 or whatever it is, I don't even know what it is.
The newest.
I have no idea what it is. I don't even have any idea, but he downloaded the old Doom, like the 1990 whatever Doom. And I have my own controller. I've had it for 2 or 3 years now and never used it until he finally downloaded Doom so that I could play Doom. But I hear gunshots going off in the room next door, and it sounds like Doom to me. So I'm like, is it Doom time? Is it Doom o'clock?
There's something perfect for you. I bought it for myself and I haven't taken it out of the box yet. It's the Sega Genesis Classic Mini. My cats are asleep finally. So the Sega Genesis Mini, and mine is jailbroken, so it has like a whole bunch of additional games on it. You can play a classic Sega Genesis game. I also have the NES Mini and the SNES Mini, but I also still have my Super Famicom network. So like, I speak Japanese and I can read it. I'm okay with just playing the Japanese games. The hardest game, I swear to fucking Christ, the hardest game I've ever played was the Transformers game for the Famicom, which is the Nintendo in the US.
But Transformers?
It was not released in America. And I gotta Google this fucking shit because it was like, it's a hard game. I was playing it, I was like, why is this game so hard?
I have to cat shame Daisy.
That's a cute cat though.
She's a cute cat, but she's being very disruptive right now.
Yeah, my cats do that. Hang on. Let me find this game. So I can tell you, I lost I just kept losing. Had to restart the game like 30,000 times. And Famicom Transformers.
What do you think, Beth?
Transformers Mystery of Convoy is the hardest game I've ever played. It's on the Famicom, which is Nintendo in the US, but this game was not released in America. So you can only, or I mean, you can, unless somebody like a hack really translated it, you have to have the Famicom or whatever, however you play.
The mirror thing.
So I have the actual physical game, and I play it on my Famicom. And I was like, oh, it's a Transformers game. Like, I love Transformers. This is a Mystery of Convoy. That's awesome. Obviously, this is not Optimus Prime. Hardest fucking game I've ever played in my life. It is fucking impossible to beat. It took me literally like a month straight of trying to get through the first 5 minutes of it. Good game, though. Great game.
So I have to admit that because I was used to playing PC and being able to use like letter keys and arrow keys and move forwards and backwards in a very streamlined, precise manner, and not being used to PlayStation's little.
You didn't play Nintendo growing up?
We weren't allowed to have Nintendo. It was the devil.
Yeah, that makes sense. Touche.
Yeah, Nintendo was the devil. Mickey Mouse was the Antichrist, and cable was going to rot all of our brains.
I guess I got lucky with growing up.
But Nintendo didn't have whirly little buttons like the PlayStation either. Nintendo was at least hard buttons that either did what they did or didn't.
Yeah.
You know, but the PlayStation has the swirly little joysticky buttons. So I was trying to run up the stairs in Doom and was like, pew, pew.
So you're a PC gamer.
I was when I was a child and didn't have any friends, and then got bullied into trying to have friends and got away from all that stuff, and then realized that friends don't matter and I'd rather be friends with my computer, and went back to that again. It's way better, actually. Screw you guys, I'm going home. Because they're all watching now, because now they all listen to me like on the radio or whatever, and they're like, oh yeah, that girl. Yeah.
You know what's funny? I had no fucking clue who you were when I met you.
Because you didn't.
I wasn't like.
Because I don't do that though either, do I?
No. Well, here's the thing. Because your radio station didn't play Roxette, I just didn't listen.
Fair. But also I've never been like that because other people I met through mutual present and past friends were like, I didn't know you were her. And I'm like, because that's not how I introduce myself, is it? There are people.
I also don't listen to radio.
There's that.
You have to play you have to play Roxette for me to listen to your fucking radio station. Because I'm like, I knew who Priestley was because he played Roxette at one point. Like that.
At one point.
That's it.
But now is the point that I was there, so it didn't matter. But no, it's that's not how I introduced myself anyway, ever. Even now.
But it's weird because we met at Otakon, and like I remember you coming over to talk to me, and
we met at Otakon, and I was a photographer's assistant. It had 0.0 to do with anything to do with my job. I was off doing a hobby.
But
I was with my own camera. I met you as a photographer.
I'm saying this slightly intoxicated, but when we met at Otakon, I never put two and two together that you were so-and-so's friend until we were both at her house at the same time.
Because I wasn't her friend then either.
Was she stalking you at that point? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to like put it like that, but like we met.
I did not even know her at that point.
So like the fact that we met months later was
at her, that had nothing to do with Otakon.
I know. I guess. I
No,
don't
I
know.
met you because I'm friends with Brittany, who was in your Sailor
Yeah.
Moon troupe for the photo. Brittany and Alice were friends of mine from middle school. Brittany and Alice are friends of mine from middle school who were friends with a few other people that were in that troupe for your photo shoot that all knew, you know, who photographer that we will not name.
The other photographer that was there, Paul Mister. No, I'm going to say his name wrong. His first name is Paul. That guy's a really good photographer. Like, he took some shots to me at Queen Serenity, and I was like, holy
But
shit.
I was there with the other photographer because he's
Okay.
friends with Alice.
Right.
And I
What
was
a
getting into photography at that point. That's about 2 years after I got my camera. And so I was moving into like group shots outside at that point.
So my gripe is not with the group. It was with the time of day we did the shoot. As you know, I take pictures.
And that photo shoot was like at high noon and there was no sun and there were no shadows.
It
I
was
know that, and I was the assistant.
the thing. Like, the sun was at the highest point of the sky in the middle of July, and like, we're all washed out to bullshit. And it's just,
my pictures of the shoot from 20 feet behind the photographer were better than the photographer's pictures.
so I was talking to another guy who was there. His name is Paul. He was not the official photographer. And I was like, hey, can I just get some shots of me? And he's like, Lauren, I don't know how to tell you this. The fucking sun. And I was like, yeah, man, I know. I'm a photographer too. I know. Can we try something? He took some like damn good pictures of me. He was like, it's gonna take me a while. I was like, hey man, take all the time you fucking need. And he got it back to me. And I was like, no wonder fucking Hooters hires you to take their fucking, or whatever he does. And like, I'm so friends with the guy because he's a really cool guy. He knows a lot about a lot of things, and he's fucking funny.
The pictures
But
I
like,
got of Brittany and Alice along the brick wall and stuff before the actual shoot out in the field are the pictures that they ended up showing around.
We should have never gone in the field. Brittany got like heat exhaustion. I thought she was gonna have a heat stroke that day.
Oh, I know.
I told her to go fucking inside, and she was like, "Wow!" I was like, "Go inside, you're gonna die." Like,
the whole thing was like whatever, but yeah, that photo shoot that I met you at was actually prior to the coffee that I had out, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that was like completely disjointed and not even related, and had zero to do with zero.
But it's so weird how like small Baltimore is.
It's
like,
Baltimore.
We met literally, I think it was like months later. I felt terrible because I was like, I vaguely remember this interaction of a meeting you at Otakon. I think my
because
problem
it was a photo shoot thing.
I mean, and plus it was the middle of July and we're outside.
And you were also yelling at, no, these people need to be set up this way. This is the photo and this is the way they need to be set up. Because that's what I remember.
He got really mad at another photographer. And like, high key, a part of me wanted to be like, this is public fucking property. No one is paying for this shoot, okay? Because I've gotten into it with other photographers at only at anime conventions. I was at Otakon, and I was like, hey, can I take a picture real fast? And I had my press badge, and I guess their photographer was like, that's really rude of you to ask. And I was like, I held up my badge. I was like, unlike you, I actually have places to be. And they said, okay. So the fuck.
Well, that was the thing, is I did have a press badge for that particular con, and I was shadowing him for that shoot to write an article about the shoot. Thank you. Because Anime USA 2011, I shadowed Brittany again when she won Grandmaster Artistry for some like Dark Soul Shadow something, whatever.
Oh, Brittany's so fucking talented.
I know. She actually, so she was the maid of honor in my third wedding and made the pocket squares for the grooms out of Star Wars material that I bought. And when it was over, because she's such a great seamstress, I was like, I'll just keep the scraps. You never know what you're going to need them for. So she's actually used them for masks that she's sending out to like hospitals and stuff. And she sent us one. and it was a little bit too big for me. So it's the mask that Dave is wearing out is the same fabric that was used in the pocket squares for our wedding,
She's
which
such a nice person.
which is absolutely adorable and wonderful. And then out of nowhere, you know, I wasn't going to say this like publicly, but my mother-in-law stopped by today because my sister-in-law and aunt both work at a local hospital where Dave was born, and his grandmother was cared for when she was ill before she passed. And I had my ankle surgery and have also had some major diagnosis in my life happen at this hospital. And this is where his sister and his aunt work as well. And she was saying that she was making masks and stuff, and she was out of white and black thread and looking for more 100% cotton fabric because they were all out. And so I went down into my stash, and even though I'm not a great seamstress, I do have a small sewing machine and keep some stuff on hand. Just when I do cosplay, I do try to buy what I can and fashion and sort of use what I can and add what I can to something that's already made. Like if there's a red jumper that looks close, I'll buy that red jumper, but then I'll alter it and add the patches to like make it the rest of the red jumper it needs to be. But I don't have the skill to make the jumper itself, but I can take it in and I can pull the straps and I can add the patches to it to make it look correct to the costume without like actually having like a pattern to make the full red jumper, let's say. So it's not closet play, but it's like altering from the closet play to like a thing. That's how I did my Nora for She-Ra, for example. Is I got the jumper at American Outfitters and pinched things and added things and did things and made it work. So I gave him my white and black thread, and I had fabric left over that my grandmother had bought me for something. My grandmother passed away in 1999 and was an RN, and it was like the last thing that she had bought me, and some fabric, another piece of fabric left over from our wedding, and gave that to my mother-in-law today to take to make masks and things for the hospital where my sister-in-law works and my aunt works.
A ton of my friends have been making masks. You know my friend Alan, who makes all the ball gowns?
Alan is one of the most talented freaking seamstress I know.
So he was doing masks for a while. I think he might have stopped right now. But also, he's incredible. Like, oh!
His Sleeping Beauty gown is still one of my favorites, though, like I've ever seen out, ever.
I think his bell far surpasses his Sleeping Beauty.
I'm just partial to Sleeping Beauty, like in general.
Oh yeah, she's my favorite princess. But like, his bell gowns are just like.
Oh, he's amazing.
He was doing some masks. My friends Patty and Steph from Starlit Creations.
Yes. I have one of their masks on the way. It's not here yet. It's coming.
I do as well. I like supporting my friends who make things. So even though I'm on unemployment, I'm still giving my friends money because we're in this together.
Yeah, we're all stuck. Plus, Dave stole my Star Wars mask, so I had to hop on Starlit Creations to get my own geek mask, because the other masks I have actually had pre-situation because of my seasonal allergy.
Yeah, I had a couple too, just because I was a J-Rock kid for a few years. So but yeah, when I cosplay, and as you know, I have not cosplayed in years. I don't really consider myself a cosplayer because I'm not good. But my mom makes a lot of my costumes, or I go to Ellen, or I go to Starlit Creations for my cosplay. Because, you know, when my Queen Serenity cosplay that you met me in, my friend Emily originally made the wig, and I bought the wig from her for like $60. And I was like, that's a steal for a Sailor Moon wig. And it's like a fucking fantastic Sailor Moon wig.
I was going to say, that wig is long, too.
She sent it to me. She's like, you do you, boo. And I was like, this is the best wig I've ever bought. And it's still in my closet in mint condition. I wore it for Queen Serenity. I wore it one other time to be Usagi, and that was it. But my mom made my Queen Serenity dress, and then Starlit Creations made the accessories. And I wanted Queen Serenity has gold accents, but I wanted to do silver. So Starlit Creations was like, "Yeah, we got you," and they did it for me in silver, and they've made. I gotta say, I feel bad because I always do a lot of my things last minute, but they always get, even if it's last minute, they're like, "Yeah, we'll take care of you," and they fucking do it, and they do it quickly, and I'm just like, this is why I keep buying from you guys, because you're so good. You're so good. And Alan is so good too. Like, I have
Alan is
such.
amazing. Starlet is great. I got their Kygo hat from Fruits Basket in one of their
Yes.
mystery bags or whatever they were calling them before they had to be discontinued. And I loved it so much. And I contacted them and I was like, listen, like my DJ logo is like a green situation. Like, can I get the hat in like green instead and have my name on the back in the Star Trek font? And they did it. I have it in the other room. I wish it was in here so I could like show it because it's amazing. It's a little
Yeah.
piccolo, but it's amazing. And now I'm already like, I wonder if they could do it in black too. Like maybe I
Oh
need a
yeah.
black one for like a little bit more casual. But like I'm always just like, I need this hat in every color because
I
of my cat face masks. Like I'm going out in cat ears and a cat mask, and that's how I'm running around right now in public, is looking like I'm just a cat person.
I buy a lot of stuff from them. They made, so for this past Christmas, I had them make a Professor Frink from The Simpsons.
That's right, you posted it.
It was a hand towel for my boyfriend. And then I posted it recently for his birthday. They made him a Sabrina the Teenage Witch patch based on the original Dan DeCarlo artwork. So I gotta say, like, I can't say enough good things about my creative friends, but
The only thing I have like that I could reach without getting up
I still have that.
was this from the October swag
A
bag,
cult.
a cult bag. Um, yeah, that's just like I had something from them. I didn't even have to get up. I didn't even prep it. It was
I
there.
have a lot of stuff from them, but everything is kind of out of reach. But that's okay because they're just. We'll throw some links into like our social medias and stuff because I really
Oh
truly
yeah,
believe.
absolutely. They're amazing and they deserve it. And Alan's great too. And Alan is somebody that before I knew you and met Alan through you is somebody that I always saw and knew because I was writing articles and blogging and stuff at the time and writing about cosplay at the time. So I already knew who he was like before then from that, even if he didn't know who I was writing about cosplaying in the DC scene, and so how did I not know who that was?
Well, anyway, so I have to run off and make dinner.
You're having late dinner. I had before we go, I have to talk about my grilled cheese sandwich tonight.
Ah,
First of all, I had to train Dave on double buttering the bread because that's what me and my grandma would do when my grandma made me grilled cheese. So you butter the bread and you put it face down first, and then you flip it and you put the cheese on that already cooked side while the other side is cooking. And then you put whatever fixings you want because everybody likes a little something different than the grilled cheese, or maybe you don't like anything at all, so you just leave it open faced cheese. But if you like relish, or if you do apples, or if you do bacon, or whatever, so you put it while it's still open faced, and then right before you eat it is when you close it. But your bread is borderline French toast before you eat it because it's double toasted buttered bread. And then you got the melted cheese in between, and then whatever toppings you put to your taste right there. And so I had to make sure that Dave understood the importance of double buttering your bread. And this time we got the Polish egg bread that is basically the Goyim equivalent of challah bread.
thank you. I was like, that sounds like challah.
Yeah.
Oh man, speaking of challah,
It's Easter bread. They call it Easter bread. And it's like,
oh,
that's challah. Like, I cut it open and I was like, that's challah bread though. And it's like, no, it's Polish Easter bread. And I'm like, no, it's not. That's challah bread. But okay, that's exactly
so
what I need. Because once you get that really super eggy bread and you
yeah.
butter toast it on both sides, you are so borderline French toast. And then you get that melted cheese up in there.
Oh girl.
Oh, yeah.
Oh girl.
So
Oh,
tonight I had Munster Gruyere, extra sharp, thin sliced with crumbled bacon and sliced Macintosh apples. Because we find
fuck. I had Eggos earlier. I had Eggos with Nutella.
we had that at breakfast. Actually, we had the Eggos.
I
We
speaking
did
of
blueberry
challah,
Eggos.
speaking of challah though, for real, the Disney parks just released their recipe for banana peanut butter chocolate French toast.
I'm not
That
here
they
for the
make it.
bananas, but I do love me some French toast.
I mean, you can make it however you want, I guess. But they only sell this specific concoction of French toast at the Disneyland Paradise Pier Hotel. As someone who goes to Disney World far more often than they probably should, I can confirm that I cannot get this French toast in Disney World, only in Disneyland. Hand gestures. So they they released the recipe, and under chef's notes it goes, "You bitches got to use challah because it's not good unless you use challah." And if you're wondering why I'm saying challah like this, it's because that's how I was raised to fucking say it. Like I can't. People are like, "Oh, you mean challah?" No, I mean challah. Like you got to use the.
When I was in college, I would go to the bakery that was right off of campus on Fridays at 2:00 and wait for the challah to come out. And I would grab my loaf and I would put it in my car and it would sit beside me. And I would drive to Philadelphia and half of the loaf would be gone when I
Yeah,
made it to Philadelphia because I would just be eating the fresh.
one of my this past Hanukkah.
And then we would eat it the rest of the weekend, And then there was a restaurant up there that did the challah French toast.
So, real quick before we, this past Hanukkah, I went to go visit John Paul, and I was like, "Can I make you a traditional Hanukkah meal?" He was like, "Yeah, that sounds great. Like, totally on board for that." And I made him matzo ball soup. I made latkes. I made chocolate chip cookies. I brought some like manischewitz. Did all that bullshit.
Wait! Time out. Which Manischewitz flavor?
Grape.
Oh, just regular grape.
Yeah.
Okay, just
So,
checking.
like,
There are
and then we
flavors,
watched
damn it.
There are, but then we watched the Hebrew Hammer to really like.
You like me watching Life of Brian every Good Friday.
I really wanted to drive home the fact that you're dating a Jew. We're gonna watch this movie, and you're gonna fucking like it while you eat the fucking latkes. So I
One more
slaved
time out. What's on the latkes? Applesauce, sour cream, or ketchup?
applesauce.
What did he
I
put
do
on
like.
his?
I forced him to put applesauce on it.
Damn right.
I was like, sour cream is fine. Applesauce. So like, I slaved. He's gonna watch this later and be like, I slaved in that kitchen for hours. For hours. Doing the fucking grinding of the potatoes. I fucking handmade these fucking latkes. Okay? Rolled the matzo balls myself. Did everything by hand. By my little hands. This fucking goyim. This fakakta goyim goes on the Facebooks and goes, apparently making a Hanukkah meal means converting your kitchen into a grease pit. He was kidding. He was being funny. He has a really good sense of humor, and I fucking laughed. But I was like, I slave over a fucking hot stove for you for like 5 hours for you to go on the Facebooks and be like, it's a fucking grease pit in my fucking kitchen. Like, I fucking slaved in this fucking kitchen, this fakakta kitchen for this fucking goyim, so you can have a nice Hanukkah meal like you've never had before. Even though you're from fucking Brooklyn and like you've got all these Jewish delicatessens around you, but you've never had a real fucking Hanukkah meal. Like, what the fuck? So like, anyway, we're still together, and like, he's really cool, and I like him.
Well, unfortunately, I got kicked out of the kitchen of my ex-mother-in-law because I couldn't stand her son anymore.
But
I can make a mean latke, and let me tell you about the bean salad. And also, I have an excellent recipe for the eggplants.
So I made all this like extra matzo ball soup for him for like the last through the week, and apparently I am a good cook, and he eats everything I make. And he was like, "Yeah, I ate everything." His daughter's like, "Where the fuck is the matzo ball soup?" And he goes, "Oh, I ate it all." She goes, "You think to save me any? You just eat everything Lauren makes?" So like, I've gotten into the habit of making her extra food. Cause like, I genuinely love I love his kids. I think they're great. His daughter is
matzo ball soup is the best, though. I mean, it really is.
It's so easy to make. It takes nothing to make it. But like, it doesn't fucking detract from the fact that I fucking made these latkes, formed them with all of the love in my heart, rolled his stupid ass matzo balls for him to be like, my fucking kitchen is the grease pit. Like, I fucking.
And it's delicious, and what?
Whatever. He was joking, and like, he really did. I know I'm making a lot of jokes about it. He genuinely appreciates every time I cook for him, because I really do put my heart and soul into everything I make. I love cooking. I mean,
what's wrong with making jokes? What are we doing here if we're not making jokes?
Exactly. I've got so many
bored, and we're boring.
Oh man, quarantine's got us like, this is great. Ah!
I don't even know what's what.
What day is it?
What time is it on this time zone? It's 8:55. On my laptop, it's 7:55 because I also work in Oklahoma.
I felt this on a very personal level. Anyway, I really do have to go eat. So where can we find you on the internet?
At Radio Josie. Literally, actually, I mean it, not like a Valley girl, at Radio Josie.
Okay.
On all the things.
So if you think I'm funny, that'd be great if you did. That would really make me feel.
I think you're funny, but I already follow you on the thing. So where can we find you?
All right. So anyways, that's what I was getting to. So on the Instagram, you can find me at Lauren from Baltimore. I'm enunciating our city's name because these are
enunciate your syllables.
We don't fucking use syllables. I have to look up my usernames because I don't know anymore. I'm doing it on my phone up. I'm like, oh no. Twitter at Baltimore Lauren, or Baltimore if you're from actual Baltimore. Where can we find more of our great content on the internet?
All over Bmore Geek Girls. It's universally on all the webs, YouTubes, Facebooks, Twitters, Twatters, Tweeters.
But do we have TikTok and do we have Snapchat?
I do at Radio Josie, both of those things. I think we have Bmore Geek Girls. Hold on what?
I've never used TikTok, so if we have a TikTok,
I have Radio Josie at TikTok just to have the name, but I haven't done anything with it. Snapchat. What is Snapchat? Do we have Bmore Geek Girls on Snapchat?
I definitely use Snapchat. I don't know my username, so hang on. You're not gonna get any interesting content from me from Snapchat.
No, never from me. I only go on there when I'm super bored. So,
All right, so
I even have a
Snapchat.
Twitch though for radio, Josie.
I have Twitch. I think it's Baltimore Lauren. Snapchat is Bmore Lauren. So hyphenate Baltimore.
And I guess I'll open more Bmore Geek Girls on other things, but I know it's definitely Insta, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube.
Also, you can find my rantingly funny stylings. I think I'm funny. I hope other people think I'm funny. I'm also on Barzinga, which has been around for a couple years. You can find us at Barzinga all over the internet because I don't want to open my phone again. But Barzinga is my other podcast where I talk with other CGC facilitators. Rich Head is my co-host, and we talk about old comic books and what we're drinking. Kind of like what we do here, but like more focused on old fucking comic books.
Because here we don't focus on anything.
It's true. It's damn true.
Get these hands. This is official episode 1 because the pilot went super well. I'm Radio Josie.
I didn't see it.
What happened?
I never saw the pilot. I was in it. I didn't watch it.
Neither did I. But I shared it. Hey!
Did you? I didn't see that.
Yeah, 3 people watched it though. We did good. Yeah.
Ichi Nissan. I speak Japanese. It's okay.
Chi something. Kira Hikaru. Ochirona. I can sing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Listen, I got something.
So,
I also got Ava still playing in my head. Lauren, before we go, why is the theme song for Ava still in my head 2 weeks later, playing on repeat?
It's a fucking good song. Like when I was a youth of 13, and I just watched all of Evangelion on VHS because that's what my dad got me for Hanukkah one year. All of Ava on VHS. I was like, Cruel Angel Thesis is a great fucking song. So I like went to Napster and downloaded it because I was 13. And I burned it onto a CD with like other anime music, and I'd be in my room fucking jamming a Cruel Angel Thesis. Zan Goku no Tenshi no Tensei or whatever. I don't fucking know.
I don't know either. All I know is I can count. I can sing Twinkle Twinkle, and I used to listen to my exchange sister yell at her mom on the phone in my house at odd hours of the night. And now that theme song is stuck in my head, and it's been weeks, and I don't know why.
It's a good theme song. I actually do like Cruel Angel Thesis. I think Utena has the best opener.
I was debating though, should I watch Gundam again or
Gundam Wing? It's a Gundam Wing. Gundam Wing is amazing.
I know Gundam Wing is amazing. But I was debating what should I rewatch next? But that might be another episode. Or maybe what I go watch next, like in literally
wait.
minutes.
Full stop. You should watch Midnight Gospel.
Is that just the one thing?
It's one season, but it's 8 episodes. I'm so sorry. 8 episodes, 30 minutes each. You can binge it in a night. It'll blow your mind. It'll expand your mind, and you'll be like, I feel this on like a bone density level.
Yeah.
Fucking sing it.
It's probably time to sign off. So I'm Radio Josie. This girl over here.
I'm Baltimore Lauren. Find me at Baltimore Lauren all over the internet. I'm going to keep talking over Josie because why not? We've been drinking.
Yes. And we'll talk to you next time on Bmore Geek Girls.
Bye, guys. It's been great talking to y'all.